My name is Shannon, and I am a graduate of Lydia's house. I I spent about 20 years of my life as a heroin addict and opiate user. I was a terrible person. I manipulated people. I stole. I did pretty much whatever I needed to do in order to be able to get high, stay from being sick. I didn't start off with heroin. It started off with other drugs, pot, cocaine, things like that. And once I did heroin, that was, pretty much the end all for me. That was my drug of choice, even though I did other things. I smoked cigarettes. I was addicted to pretty much anything, and I would substitute if I couldn't get my drug of choice. I went to college. I was high every day. I worked jobs. I would, I would do, like I said, whatever I could to survive, to be able to pay for my drug habit. And if that meant working two jobs and going to school, getting money for school and things like that, then that's what I did. I was in some relationships. Some were not as bad as others. Some were abusive. And I did drugs with those people in those relationships, and that's pretty much what our lives centered around. I did get pregnant, and I had a son. I actually had two sons, and my parents have temporary custody of my oldest, but my youngest, my brother and sister-in-law, they adopted. They took him straight home from the hospital, and that was a hard choice that I had to make. But in my addiction, I was very selfish, and the only thing that I could focus on was getting high and not being sick. I ended up in jail for drugs a couple times, and I spent probably 2.5 years out of 4 years incarcerated. The last time that I went to jail, though, I was really tired. I was really tired of living the way that I had been living. I had just given my youngest up for adoption, and was in a very abusive relationship, had a lot of stuff just hitting me all at once, and I was really broken. I got out of jail and again got into another altercation with that man I was in a relationship with, and wound up on the street, and with one of my friends was at a hotel for the night, and that night in that hotel parking lot, I was just high out of my mind, but I was walking the parking lot just trying to figure out, what am I going to do? I just cannot live like this anymore. And I hit my knees in that hotel parking lot in the middle of the night and just prayed to God and told him that he was going to have to supernaturally do something, because I just couldn't do it. And the next day, I wound up in the hospital. I had OD'd, and I had drugs on me, and the cops found them and took me to jail. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that was God saving my life. And while I was in jail, I would go to church. They had women come with the jail ministry, and I would go to church. Every church they had, I don't care what it was, Baptist or Nazarene or Catholic, I was there. And my dad had heard of Lydia's house and had given me the information about it. One of the times that I had told him I wanted help, and I was like, absolutely not. That's just crazy, sir. It's religious. I don't want nothing to do with that. And but God really did a work on me and a work on my heart, and it turns out that I was really just angry with him, and I was able to see that. But I was so broken that I was willing to submit, and I got a hold of Sherry White Ministries and of Lydia's house. I wrote several letters, And finally, Miss Sherry called me back in jail, and I had an interview with her, and she said I could come. So the day I got out of jail, my grandmother drove me straight here, and I've pretty much been here ever since. I completed Lydia's house. I graduated, and God really saved my life, and He did it through this ministry. And He's been working in my heart ever since, and working in the heart of my family ever since. And He's really been doing some restoration. When I graduated, I could have pretty much done whatever, but I really felt the Lord leading me to stay and help this ministry. And so I did. I didn't know I was going to be house mom, but that kind of just happened. And God likes to put us in comfortable situations so we can grow, and I am very much in an uncomfortable situation. But I get joy from it every day, and I get the opportunity to help women that have gone through, very similar situations to me. And I truly know what it's like to be in that mindset. And I truly know what it's like to be that broken and that selfish and just that consumed by that drug, and not care about anything else. As of today, I get to see my kids. I get to see my family. I get to spend time with them. My relationships are just, like I said, being restored, and God is doing amazing things in my life. And I'm just ever so grateful, of course, to God, but definitely to this ministry and to Lydia's house and the farm.